What's up, everybody? My name's Ita and I'm the chess geek from chessgeek.org. I analyzed a chess game today that was submitted to me by one of my viewers, and when analyzing it, I found a pretty big mistake, and when I thought about it, I realized that this mistake happens all the time in games that I play, in games that I analyze from Grandmaster level, even to beginner level. So this is a mistake that happens to all players, and it's super easy to avoid, so I'm making the video today to share with you and help you not make this mistake in the future. The big mistake that I'm talking about is unnecessary pawn moves. Let's look at an example. e4, e5, knight to f3, knight to c6, bishop to c4, and now d6. Here, a lot of people make the mistake of playing h3. You have three basic goals in the opening. Control the center, which we've done. Develop your minor pieces, which we've done, and castle. So why h3? Why would you want to play h3? Because, it doesn't seem to do any of those three things. Well, a lot of people play h3 because of their concern of the bishop coming down here to g4, pinning the knight. And the reason they're concerned about this is because the move d6 was just played, which unleashes the bishop. So, black is probably looking to move out this bishop, sure. But the thing that you need to understand, and the reason that when you get better and better, and grandmasters usually don't tend to play these moves, is that grandmasters recognize that the knight here being pinned is not a big concern. It's not, it's not a decisive tactic, okay? Let's look at a fork, for example. When you play a fork, you're gonna probably win a piece, right? Because you're threatening to capture two pieces. But here, you're not going to win a piece. I mean, worst case, they decide to trade, you can get your queen, into the action. So the move h3 tries to stop, black from using a tactic, but the problem is it's not really that big of a concern if black decides to use it. So instead, castle here, because now your king can't be punished from being in the center. So you want to castle as quickly as you can. That being said, h3 is not always a bad move, and eventually you're going to want to play it. So if the knight starts moving here, we'll notice that now you have double concerns of this square here, and maybe you do want to stop the minor pieces from getting here, because that could actually form an attack on the king's side. So maybe then h3 would be called for. But the thing that I'm talking about is early on in the game, playing h3 to stop a pin, and that's something that I see all the time, and it's unnecessary. And although usually it doesn't cost you the game, at least not instantly, it does just worsen your position and worsen any advantage you have when it comes to time. So you want to castle as quickly as you can and not waste time on this unnecessary pawn move. Let's look at another example. Here's a game that I analyzed today. It was submitted by one of my viewers, and I highly recommend you submit your own games to me so I can use this and, point out some mistakes that you might be making to help you improve. So the game started with the English opening c4. It's actually a very solid opening. So, it's very impressive that, the person decided to play it, and you can play it very nicely. Here, the move e4 was played. I personally maybe would side towards e3, getting ready for d4, but overall, I mean, it's not, a huge blunder. It makes this square very powerful for white, so it's quite fine. But the thing that I want to bring to your attention is this move right here. Okay, and this is another, another case of unnecessary pawn moves. But it's different. When you played h3, you were stopping a tactic. Here, you're playing this in aims, in a goal of solidifying the pawn chain here. And a lot of people make it. They make it on the queen side with the light square pieces. Sometimes they make it on the king side or with the dark square pieces. They just make these unnecessary pawn moves because, I mean, this looks quite satisfying. It looks pretty good. You have a pretty solid defense. Many of the pawns are supporting themselves, or, supporting others. But the problem is that you are controlling the light squares, but notice the dark squares. Now, these dark squares are all weak squares for you. So the knight eventually might look to move here. So you always want to make sure that, although it seems very good, you don't make these pointless moves, and instead maybe use this time to develop pieces and getting closer to castle, and just focus on the three main ideas that I talked about a couple of minutes ago. So those are the two cases that I have for you, and I highly recommend that you try to avoid doing them, because although it seems so insignificant, just one move that you're wasting, it actually ends up adding up. And time in chess is one of the biggest factors especially when you start getting into higher level chess, where players make less blunders. So time is the thing that you have to rely on to get that advantage. Anyways, thank you guys for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed. Make sure you subscribe if you enjoyed, for other videos that could help you become a better chess player. Also, make sure you check out my brand new website at www.chessgeek.org, because I think that there are a lot of tools there that will also make you a better chess player. And have an awesome day. Thank you all. Peace out.